Everyone loves a good mystery, and while the Witcher series is no stranger to baffling and enchanting discoveries, a recent find from the Witcher 3 Next Gen update in 2023 might just be the most enthralling mystery we've ever seen in the series. And also, one of the coolest mysteries I've stumbled upon in my now hundreds of hours doing research on different games for videos like this. After playing around some with the final installment of The Witcher 3, many fans began to notice that there were small amounts of new content that were being added into the game, a fun new quest, some new items, and a lot of little Easter eggs hidden here and there. But recently, just when it seemed like there was nothing new to discover, potentially the biggest revelation ever in the entire Witcher series was found. Located at the destroyed bastion in Velen, just southwest of the crossroads and southeast of the road to the Bald Mountain, these ruins were built during the reign of King Gardic, and then later leveled in the First Nilfgaardian War. But if you actually go to this location now in-game, you'll notice 3 smaller ruins just off the beaten path of the main fort, and within each of these ruins is a lever that you can pull that seemingly does nothing. Once all 3 levers are pulled though, an earth elemental will be summoned in the middle of the towers, and after killing it, Geralt will remark that something strange is going on, followed by a random portal opening up on a nearby hill. At this point, it's almost impossible not to go into that portal, and if you do, you're sent straight to the top of the destroyed bastion, with a pair of stairs and gaping holes leading you downward. And at the very bottom of this structure is a very dark and creepy room, which upon dropping into, immediately an army of unkillable specters are born, which quite literally cannot be vanquished with any known combo in the game. It's because of this that you're forced to run into an adjacent room with an even larger force of immortal hellspawn, and it's in this room that you can activate a portal by casting Ard on 2 crystals in the room, and it's this portal that will teleport you back outside as if nothing ever happened. So something really strange is going on here. What are all these levers doing in the middle of nowhere, and why were they only added into the game as of the most recent update? Does the Earth Elemental have anything to do with this mystery, and what kinds of magics under the destroyed bastion are causing Wraiths to quite literally become immortal? We've never seen something like this. Well, buckle up, because things are about to get a lot more crazy. You see, in that room with the 2 crystals that create a portal back outside, there's actually one more interesting thing we didn't touch on. Because if you bypass both crystals and instead just run to the back of the room, you'll notice a strange symbol on the back wall. No spells or incantations seem to do anything, so it would seem that the mystery would stop here. But let's take a closer look. Here's a zoomed in screenshot of that symbol on the back wall. It's a triangle with a golden crest and 3 circles on each edge, most likely a symbol of the Illuminati or All-Powerful, surrounded by a depiction of Ouroboros, who, for those of you who don't know, is an ancient form of Norse mythology also seen in Greek and Egyptian texts about a snake that eats its own tail, meant to signify eternity and the unity of the beginning and end of time, sometimes meant to warn of the ending of the world. Inside of those circles and outside of the Ouroboros are strange symbols that seem to be saying something, but aren't immediately coherent at all. But keeping in mind that this is the Witcher universe, we can assume that these symbols are actually a form of Elder Writing, which is an ancient language of the continent in The Witcher that's largely based on real-world Glagoltic scripts, which is the oldest known Slavic alphabet in the entire world, created in the 9th century by Saint Cyril, a monk from Thessalonica sent to the Byzantine Emperor in 863. So if we assume these symbols are actually symbolizing this ancient language, we can then translate them into Latin, in which case we get these letter pairings: FF, VQ, BZ, FP, OVE, YAR, KW, GB. Sadly, trying to assort these into any sort of coherent English phrase or sentence seems to be a losing battle, but maybe this translation is only the first step. After all, considering the symbol seems to reference Illuminati and the end of the world, it probably won't be that easy. So next, I tried to run this sequence of letters against multiple popular cipher techniques. For example, Rot13, which is a simple substitution cipher that replaces each letter with an offset of 13 in the alphabet. And while some ciphers did seem to produce somewhat coherent phrases, nothing I tried really made any sense. So I went back and tried running more complex ciphers along with an @bash cryptographic substitution, which would alternate each letter with its opposing sequence in the alphabet, which seemed like a good guess since the Ouroboros symbol could signify that in order to solve the cipher, we need to completely reverse something. But once again, nothing of significant note. I was able to pick up, for example, at one point the phrase sex robots after referencing a Reddit thread on cryptography, but I'm not sure if that's the answer. In order to keep digging though, I started to run this puzzle through different artificial intelligence training models like ChatGPT, which provided some really interesting and impressive guesses at what the solutions could be. But once again, nothing substantial enough to call this case closed, and nothing that really relates to the Witcher universe at all. So maybe sex robots could be the final answer to this puzzle then. It's highly unlikely unless CD Projekt Red really likes messing with us, but maybe robots who are especially frisky might not be so far off. Because the final piece of this puzzle is another thing I haven't touched on yet. You see, in the center of the strange symbol is a magenta-colored triangle with what looks to be flames, and more importantly, a drawing of multiple lines that twist and converge at the top and bottom. I searched all over the internet looking for a similar symbol or significance of lines like this, but all I could find was that cool S trick I remember from my days back in elementary school, before I spent countless hours researching cryptography and ciphertext in order to solve random online puzzles about video games and lore. I miss those days. What these lines do in fact relate to though, and where this mystery gets even more insane, is that they are the same exact lines used in the FF06B5 statues in Cyberpunk 2077, which is the biggest mystery in any game CD Projekt Red has made to date. One that has entire communities dedicated to solving it who still have yet to figure it out even almost 3 years after the game's initial release. The mystery in Cyberpunk got its name because FF06B5 is actually the color code for magenta, the color of one of the statues with the mystery in game. So considering this Witcher symbol obviously is connected somehow, maybe those original Latin translations are actually a set of obvious color codes to further shed light on this now multi-game spanning mystery. I tried creating ciphers that could translate the original set of Glagoltic letters into the Cyberpunk sequence, and I was in fact successful, but using the translation mechanism on the remaining letters once again didn't produce anything coherent, like any other color codes or phrases for example. Another idea is that maybe the Latin translation and reversal could be a MAC address of sorts, a computer that could be remoted into and then provide further instructions on how to solve this grand mystery. But once again, I've failed in all of my attempts going down this route. So that's where we are now, with potentially the biggest mystery in the history of not just The Witcher, but CD Projekt Red, and one of the coolest mysteries just in general I've stumbled upon, still being completely unsolved. And considering that this entire mystery likely relates to the end of the world, or an Illuminati-like organization spanning both Cyberpunk and Witcher, something really big is going on here. So I hope someone with better puzzle solving skills is able to figure this one out, because I wasn't able to. And if anyone down below has any ideas, please let me know. Either way though, it's awesome to see that almost a decade after its original release, The Witcher 3, and really the entire series as a whole, still has so many secrets and interesting things to offer.